Welcome back. We are continuing from where we stopped in the last class. Topics to be covered. Continued. New company setup. We have created our company in the previous class. So we want to continue with our customization using our classification and coding system. So we have started creating our company chart of account. We have talked about classification and coding system. We talked about cash. We talked about banks that both will be under account type of cash. We also talked about sales and cost of sales. I also mentioned in the last class that for every inventory item, we have three general ledgers. That is the sales, cost of sales, and inventory account. So we talked about nylon, pencil, biro as our stock items. So we are continuing from where we stopped. Let's do a quick review of what we did in the last class. Let me go to Peachtree and select list. Let me see the list of my chart of account. So this is what we did in the previous class. We talked about our account ID to start from 1 for cash. Then we add 10, 10. That is 10, giving us 20, 30, 40. If you have a cash in hand, petty cash, GTB, Zenith Bank, First Bank, everything fall under cash. Then for sales, it starts from 2. So sales income is the general name. Then we also have for each stock items, sales of nylon, paper, biro, everything comes under income. Also our services that we render. Let's assume that we have two services, training service and rental service. Also comes under income. We just talked about cost of sales. Then we have cost of sales. We are abbreviating to COS, nylon, paper, biro. Exactly the way it appears for sales, same applies to cost of sales, nylon, paper, biro, and pencil. So this is the coding system for account type. We've talked about cash, talked about income, we've talked about cost of sales. Now the next that we'll talk about is expenses. Expenses start from 4, then 5 zeros. So this is our expenses. Expense coding system for expenses. Account ID start from 4, then 5 zeros. We have the account ID description, account type 4, then 5 zeros. Salaries and wages comes under expenses. We also have rent. Remember, you add 10, 10, 10. That's giving us 20 here for advertising, another 10 for transport, fuel. It's a very long list. So depending on how many expenses that the company incurs in a particular period, so the more you just add 10 and increase the number of your expenses. So to post this to Peachtree, let's go to Peachtree. We go to maintain menu, select our chart of account. The account ID starts from 4, so and 5 zeros. 1, you say 4. Let's cancel this. Say you have modified the do you want to save it? No, I'm not saving it. I will say 4 and 5 zeros. Press enter. What's the description? The first one is salaries and wages. Then I'll select under my account type. I can just press E and scroll down and select my expenses, then save. So now entered the last one, telephone and expenses. The code is 5, then say save. To see the list of what we have done so far, select list. So this now display. It displays our expenses: salaries and wages, rent, advertising, transport, fuel, and telephone. So we close. Then we close this. You can close it here. Let me show you. You can close here, and you can also close with the red button. So having posted that, we go to the next item. We talk about fixed asset and accumulated depreciation. The code for fixed asset is 5 and 5 zeros, while accumulated depreciation is 5 and 4 zeros. The reason why I'm doing it like that is because the assets are related to their accumulated depreciation. So let's assume that we have 3 assets. We have land and building, we have motor vehicle, and we have furnitures and fittings. So is the code system of fixed asset: 5 and 5 zeros, accumulated depreciation 5 and 4 zeros. So the account ID, description, then account type. 5, we have land and building, fixed asset, plus 10, 5, 3, 0 and 10, motor vehicle, fixed asset, 5, 3 zeros, 20, furnitures and fitting, fixed asset. Then we also have 5 as accumulated depreciation, relating it to land and building. So you notice that the zeros, we also have 5 and 0 and 4 zeros. That is accumulated depreciation, linking it to what? Land and building under what? Accumulated depreciation. Then plus 10. Notice that motor vehicles also 10. So now link it to this. Accumulated depreciation, motor vehicle 10 also. 5 0 10. Accumulated depreciation. Then same goes for furnitures and fittings. So we can now go to Peachtree. Let's select Peachtree now and go to our maintain menu. As usual, chart of account, we will now say our code 5, we cancel this, say no, 5 and 5 zeros, then press enter. We have land and building, then will now come down. I can press F, it's giving me fixed asset. I'll select it and press save. Then I can also type the next one, plus 10, enter. My motor vehicle, fixed asset, I save it. So we enter account ID 55, then 2 0 zeros, and accumulate depreciation, furniture and fittings. Then we save, then we close. So let's now select, we can also come here and come to list. From here you can select our chart of account. So this is our chart of account. We entered fixed asset, motor vehicle, furniture and fittings, accumulated depreciation, So we have 550020, accumulated depreciation, furniture and fittings, account type accumulated depreciation. Then we say save. Then we can now close this. So if we check our list from where we started, fixed asset, motor vehicle, fixed asset, furniture and fitting, fixed asset, then our code has now changed to 55, then 4 zeros, accumulated depreciation, land and building, then accumulated depreciation, then plus 10, 550010, motor vehicle, then the last one, furniture and fittings. So let's check our coding system for account types that we have. We've talked about fixed asset, we've talked about accumulated depreciation. Now we are going to the next one, other asset. Other asset is investment, and the code is 58 and 4 zeros. So we can just go straight to Peachtree. We can close this, then go straight to Peachtree. We say maintain, select our chart of account as usual. Then we say account ID 58, say cancel, 5 8 no, 580, then 4 zeros, then press the enter key. Then I have my investment, and I'll select other asset. I could just press O, then select other asset, and I'll say save. So that's all for investment. Moving to the next one. The next one is, let's check our coding system. The next one is inventory. Inventory starts from 6, then 5 zeros. So if a manufacturing company, we can create inventory for finished goods, inventory for work in progress, then inventory for raw materials. So let's go back to Peachtree, and you select 6, then our 5 zeros, enter key. You can have inventory, finished good. Then you can also have for work in progress and raw material. But this is a trading company, so we can just stick to only one inventory. Then we select inventory, and we'll say save. The next thing I'm going to talk about is account receivables. Account receivables. 6, 4, then 4 zeros. Press enter. Account receivables. Then also come down to account type and press A to select account receivables. Then we say save. The next thing I'm going to talk about is other current asset. Under other current asset, the code is 66, then 4 zeros. Under other current asset, we can have staff loan, prepayment, and so on and so forth. So let's say staff loan. Then you come down to account type and select other current asset. So I'll say O, other current asset. Now click on save. So if I add plus 10, that will be 660010. Then press enter to create one more other current asset. I'll call it prepayment. And I'll say save. Then the next one is 7. This is our account payable. Then press enter. Account payable. Then now select account payable. Then I'll click on save. The next item on our list is other current liability. That is 7.5. So we have 7.5, then 4 zeros. We press our enter key. We can have as we have prepayment under other current assets, you can also have accruals under other current liabilities. So accruals. Then we select other current liability. Then we click on save. Now let's check our list so far. So we have added other assets, inventory, account receivables, other current assets, account payable, then other current liabilities. In case there are more than, just add 10 to the existing list and create new items. So apart from accruals, let me also teach you how to edit an existing item. Just double click, then once it come up, I can always change it. If I change the accruals, if I now put payee remittable, once I say save and I close it, it automatically refresh the data, now reflecting payee remittable other current liability. So let's now create more. Let's create accruals. Let's also create pension remittable and VAT payable under our other current liabilities. So I can close this. Now go to my maintain chart of account. Is 75 75. I'll add plus 10 0, then 1 0. So if I should write 75 without adding another number, it will overwrite what's existing on my system. So let's say accruals. Then I'll select my other current liabilities, say save. Also select plus 10, that's 20, my enter key, pension remittable, now say save. And I can also have my VAT payable, This will be used to track all our VAT that will be deducted from when posting sales invoice. Save. So the next thing I want to talk about now is long-term liability. The code is 8 and 5 zeros. And I'll say long-term liability, I can call it debenture. You now select my long-term liability. Now click on save. The next thing we want to talk about is equity. Equity. We have equity does not close. Equity does not close. That's share capital. This means if we have 10 million for 2005, if there's no increase in share capital, is it the same 10 million that appear in 2006, 2007, 2008, 2009, and till presently 2013? But assuming there's increase in share capital, that's the only time that our share capital increases. Equity get closed. Equity get closed. For a sole proprietorship, this is drawings that at the end of every year it will be written off. But for limited liability company, we have directors current account. Directors current account. Directors current account. So it's also deducted and added depending on whether there's a withdrawal or payment into the business. Then we have, and the code is 905 and 3 zeros. Then we have the last one as equity retained earnings. Equity retained earnings, the code as 907. It can also be called revenue reserve. So let's go to Peachtree. We have posted. Let's click on save. Then we now go to the next one. The code is 901. 901, then 3 zeros. Press enter key. You can call it share capital. You can call it paid up capital. So let me call it my paid up capital. Then it comes under equity does not close. That means it's constant over the years. Then the next code for director's current account is 905. Then I'll press my enter key. Director's current account. Director's current account. They will now select equity get close. Equity get close. Now click on my save. Then the code for equity retained earnings is 907. My enter key. And I can write revenue reserve. If you like, I can write retained earnings. Revenue reserves. Then I will now select equity retained earnings. You will now click on save. Then I can now view my list to see all our charts of accounts so far. So this is all the chart of account that we prepared. We started from cash to income to cost of sales to expenses, fixed assets, accumulated depreciation, other assets, inventories, account receivables, other current assets, account payables, other current liabilities, long-term liabilities. We talked about equity does not close, that is share capital or paid up capital. We talked about directors' current account that get closed during the year. Then also mentioned equity retained earnings. Our chart of account can be exported to Excel or PDF. If we come to send to, you want to send as an email to Excel to PDF. I can decide to send it to Excel by clicking on Excel, copy to Excel, create a new Microsoft Excel workbook. Yes, create new. So I'll click OK. So it's exporting my chart of account to Excel. So this is the Excel format. We have our account ID, description, account type, running balance. Then we have this our code, all our descriptions. You can also scroll down. So Excel chart of account in Excel. Next thing you want to do is to entering general ledger beginning balances. To do this, we go to Peachtree, maintain, select our chart of account. Then we'll now select at the right hand side account beginning balances. We will now scroll down. Our company starts 1st of January 2013. So the last date is from 1st December 2012 to 31st December 2012. So I'll select the last one. OK. So this is the previous year balance. So you notice that it's highlighting the debit side, that is asset and expenses. And it's telling me that liabilities, equity and income is on the credit side. So let's assume we have cash in hand 10,000, petty cash 5,000, and so on and so forth. You can also scroll down. Income and expenses does not have beginning balances. It's only assets and liabilities and equity that has beginning balances. So let's assume our fixed asset 100,000, motor vehicle 50,000, then 60,000, can just delete one, then accumulated depreciation. Let me assume 10% on this. That will give me 10,000. 10% on 50,000 will give me 5,000. 10% on 60,000 will give me 6,000. Enter. You have inventories. Then we have, assume we have no inventories. Then coming down, let's say our share capital is 150,000. Enter. Then director's current account, let's say 4,000. Then revenue reserve, let's call it 50,000. So if you come to the bottom, you see the trial balance is made up of balances of all accounts. In order for trial balance to be in balance, the sum of assets and expense should equal the sum of liability, equity, and income. So difference will be posted to beginning balance equity. So beginning balance equity is a default account that shows difference in beginning balances. But for this that we did now, the total asset is 225,000, liabilities, equity, and income is 225,000. So we have no difference. There's no difference because it's equals. So we can now click on OK. So let's now check the list of our chart of account now. So let's highlight it to be bold. So this now the balances. You notice that balances on the credit side is in red. So that's how to enter beginning balances. And remember that income and expenses does not have beginning balances. It's only asset, liabilities, and equity. I hope this has been informative for you, and I want to thank you for viewing.